In July of this year, I signed with my agent, and since then, people who have heard that I've recently signed with an agent, or people in the comments of the video where I talked about getting an agent, have asked me a lot of questions about the agent application process because it's very complicated, very difficult, very confusing, and I've spoken about my own experience and my process applying throughout the years, but I thought I could give some specific advice, tips, guidance from the things that I've learned along the way, I guess, that I could share, because I feel like I learned so much throughout the application process and throughout actually getting my agent that I have all this information now that I now personally am not using because I have an agent. So I thought it would be something that I could talk about and share with all of you. But I would say, obviously, I'm not an expert and there's no one specific way that guarantees you getting an agent or only one set route that you could take to get an agent. Like, I didn't go to drama school, I'm 21, I've been told that it would be really difficult to get an agent, but I've managed to do it, and there are many different ways that you can approach the agent application process that can lead to you being successful. So I don't want people to ever get too set in a specific pathway and think that that's the only way. And if you want to see where I go now I'm a represented actor, and if you want to follow along with my advice and my journey and support me, then please do subscribe, because I really appreciate this. I am trying to grow this channel, so I would be really grateful for that. And let's chat about agents. So the first thing I would say is that lots of people come to me and say, Lottie, I would really love to get more auditions, so I'd really like to have an agent. Or like, Lottie, I'd really like to feel like I'm making progress with my acting, so I'd really like to have an agent. So I just think sometimes it's useful to look at the reasons why you would actually want an agent, because I think, does it guarantee you getting more auditions? No, you can get auditions without an agent. I think an agent just allows you to have more contacts and to get different kinds of auditions, and maybe like auditions for bigger projects and not necessarily a larger number of auditions. So I think there are other ways to navigate if you want to just get auditions or get involved in smaller projects or student films and you just want more opportunities to act. Maybe getting an agent isn't for you. I mean, that could mean that I get misinterpreted now and everyone might watch this and think like I'm saying, oh, I've got an agent, but maybe having an agent's not for you. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But like, if you want to act more, maybe joining an acting class could guarantee you getting to act more, because self-tapes are not very often, and when it's a quiet time in the industry you might not get many opportunities to act when having an agent. Just, I think what I'm trying to say is that it's really important to understand what you're actually signing yourself up for. Like, some people might only get an audition once every 3 or 4 months with their agent if they've got a specifically difficult casting type and it's very competitive. So like, if you're applying for agents with the wrong kind of expectations in mind, maybe it's important to also rethink that and think about whether this is taking you in the direction that you want to go in at this point in time, because I am glad that I had the time when I didn't have an agent to really prepare myself for the responsibility, I guess, of sending off to bigger castings, and to be prepared for that kind of responsibility of having an agent. And one mistake I think I made in the early years of applying is that I wasn't on Spotlight, and I think I overestimated how hard it would be to get on Spotlight. Like, really, you need to prove that you've had 2 years of part-time training or 2 professional credits. So you need to have screenshots of emails that say, I have signed up to this class or whatever, to prove that you've done those classes, and you need the contracts for jobs you've done. So if you have those things, I would really recommend that you sign up to Spotlight, because it just validates you as an actor who can work in the industry. And then with the way that you actually write your emails to the agents, I think a lot of people have a lot of different things to say on that. And I think it's very complicated because different styles of emails will resonate with different agents. But what I would say is, don't write a massive essay. Don't oversell yourself or oversell your interest in the agent, because that seems like you don't really understand the industry, you don't really understand them, you're like over explaining things, and then that might be a bit off-putting to quite a few agents. Like, in my first email to agents, what I would do is I would introduce myself and like the key points about me, like where I'm based, where I've trained, and like my main selling points, and showing that I know who I am in the industry. And I'd ask to have a chat with them, And then I'd also try and find some kind of personal connection, if possible, to their agency or to one of their clients. So there's just more of a reason for them to feel connected to you. So I did that, and I think that's what helped me get my agent personally, was that I'd been taught by one of her clients, and I had a lot to say about her and how she'd influenced my acting and how I would want to go in a similar direction to her with my career. And then what I did personally is I waited, usually 6 months to a year is how long they want you to wait before you contact them again, but some want 2 years. So obviously respect their boundaries like that, and respect that that's how their agency works, and like contacting them earlier isn't necessarily going to really be beneficial to you if they're not going to have a space open up in the next 2 years. So I respected that, and I would reply to the previous email I sent, so I would be able to address anything that they said in their previous email. And obviously I thought about all of the responses that I did get from agents, and I applied all of the feedback that they gave me, and I would email them back, address that and say, since I last contacted you, this is what I've done, this is what I've achieved, and send them material of short films I filmed in the time since I'd last contacted them, tell them about different things I've achieved, like I got to the final 10 of the Bazan Performer in Progress Award, so mentioning that, and then asking if I could meet them. So on reflection, I'm not sure I was exactly even sending a showreel. I was sending quite a sizable video of all of these different scenes that I'd done for a short film, but I think there is value in highlighting recent work that you've done or inviting them to a show. Like, I think people like to feel that personal connection and be invited to things, and I think that stands out when people are just usually sending their headshots and show reels. Like, I think it's really good to be able to say, come see me in this, and then you're building a closer connection to them that way. So I think there are ways to make your email stand out like that, but just don't write too much because these people are so busy. So don't be writing a big essay, but I think it's cool to invite them to something and do something that they can actually come meet you in, come see you in. And I think agents do try to send people to that if they can, and if they have a level of interest in you already. So I think that's a really interesting approach to go down, and one that I would have done a bit more if I was going to do the application process again. And then once you've got agents to actually meet you, I have so much that I could say about the agent meetings, but I think it's so important to know your casting type, where you sit in the industry, whose career you look at and you think that's the kind of career that I would like to have, who's playing the kind of roles that you would want to be playing at the moment in the industry, and just knowing all of these different things, knowing who the main casting directors are, knowing a lot about the industry is all really beneficial to showing that you can function in the industry. You know the industry, you know who you are within the industry, you know like how to market yourself. And I think it's really, really important to not oversell yourself or lie, because you really do not want to be in auditions for the wrong roles. Like, if you say you're an incredible dancer, then you end up in a dance audition that you can't do. Like, that's not ideal, and that's not going to reflect well on you or your agent. So I think what I've learned is there's actually power in being like, actually no, I don't think I could be in these kind of shows, because like, I think people want to impress and say, yes, I'll do this, yes, I'll do this, yes, I'll do this, but we're not skilled in all of the areas, every single area. Like, there's some things that might not be the best fit for us, and knowing where those are, and like, that might change. Like, you might upskill yourself in a certain area and then suddenly you can go up for those kind of roles, and then you can let your agent know. But I think lying and saying like, yeah, I'm really good at this, when you're not, is just going to annoy people. And then once you do get offers and you get contracts sent through, I would really, really, really encourage you to properly look through the contracts and understand what everything means, if it's normal or not, and just to know what the impact might be of having those certain conditions in your contracts, like understanding normal commission rates, for example. Like, 15% commission I think is normal, and 20% is kind of on the verge of being high commission but acceptable. But people have told me that anything over that is a bit of a red flag and a bit more of a concern and something to think about, because that's quite high commission for the industry. But I mean, contracts are a very complicated topic. For example, there's a lot of different exceptions to this rule because children's agencies are known to take higher commission, but also you might want to look at whether it's an exclusive agent and they will exclusively represent you, or if it's non-exclusive, because some people are thinking, oh, I want to have loads of agents and I want lots of different people to work with, but then it is more kind of industry standard to have one agent, and one agent can go on Spotlight and submit you for all the jobs. So like having loads of agents isn't necessarily a good thing unless they're taking different purposes, like you've got a voice agent and you've got an American agent. Like, you don't need loads of agents, you just really need the one agent. I mean, there's so much to say about contracts, but that's a few things that I would say. Just be careful about them, and if you have people who can read over them, who understand the industry, getting them to read over it is also really useful, and really taking the decisions seriously and understanding what you're signing up for is really important. So that's what I would say about getting an agent, joining an agent. These are a few of the things that I would share. It's a very big, very complicated topic, and there's so much more that I could share, but I just thought I'd share a few things to help people out on their journey. If you have any questions about agents and applications, please do leave me a comment, because like I can get back to you and I can address anything that I've not mentioned here, because like, let's be honest, it's a very big topic and I can't give you all of the answers and all of the advice that I have in just one video, but I hope it's been helpful in some kind of way, and thank you so much to everyone for watching. Thank you, bye!